nobody should listen to this.
Shy of 2 years in prison. I was a different person back then. Definitely a different person.
Do you have one or two athletes right now that you think do go pro? What do you take from that time now or from that time then and go and apply it to your athletes now?
Ideally, I wouldn't mind them getting 10 amateur fights.
How do we use this? Because it wasn't a tool back then as it was now.
Oh yeah, it was my first win in the UFC.
I
said, well, I got a lot of training partners that are 5'11", 5'12".
The dad of 3 or the single
100%.
mom of 2 that's also training and her kids are training. Anybody that you roll with or train with that you're like, no matter what, you're like, this is to the death. Kick things off. I usually like to back up and give a bit of context before we kind of dive into the nitty gritty of what you know and the things I'm excited to dive into with you. So take me through kind of your, what's it called? Your kind of upbringing in like, you know, from 16 to like 18, 20, mid 20s. Take me through kind of what that was like. Early years, yeah.
Well, that's that's a whole different life. But my teenage years, I was a different person back then. Definitely a different person. I was man, caught me off guard there. But I was when I was 16 years old. It's like it's actually like I started wrestling when I was like in grade 5.
Yeah.
And wrestled through, I would say like by the time I was 16, 17 is when I kind of like, 11th grade, it was like my last year of wrestling. Mm-hmm. And I kind of like veered into partying and being a shitty
degenerate,
I
love it.
And for about 2-3 years there, I was just partying a lot and not doing the best decisions in my life. And long story short, I got incarcerated in my early 20s. Did shy of 2 years in prison, and then found my way back into martial arts, and
nice.
And then never looked back after that.
Right on. Oh, awesome.
Yeah.
So then that'd be mid 20s. How did you get back into it? Was it just like I needed an outlet? I needed to be around people?
Well, I guess it was an outlet too, for sure. Yeah, but like when I was incarcerated, I met a guy. He was a purple belt in Jiu Jitsu, and I was a janitor for the gym when I was incarcerated, and I was cleaning up the gym, and so it was in my element because I wanted to get back into fitness and stuff. Mm-hmm. And he was also a janitor with me, so then there was like these old mats, those kind of like Velcro 2-folded mats there. Well, there's like 4 of them, so after we were done our cleaning up and stuff, we would put them all together and we'd just start beating the shit out of each other. And so I did that, the time I was incarcerated, and then when I came out, I looked for a gym to start training and kind of like, got back into it.
Right on. Nice. So the mid 20s, get into it.
Early 20s.
Early 20s, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So, did you have what did that look like to go, at that point in your life, what did you think you would be doing or could be doing? You're like, are you evaluating? You're like, shit, what skills do I have or what do I enjoy doing? Or was it like just not that deep and you're just like, I want to try?
No, I was very, the best thing that could have happened to me was getting incarcerated. Yeah. It was like a really shift in my life where there's like literally 2 roads, and I could keep going this path, and then and being caught and getting incarcerated for that long, forcing sobriety because I was drinking a lot, doing a lot of drugs, kind of like forced me to reevaluate, and then being incarcerated. With people that like had like, because I did federal prison.
Yeah.
So being incarcerated, people that were like life sentences and kind of like real like some evil people.
Yeah, not
like,
the sweetest individuals. Yeah.
I realized, like I don't want to be a part of this.
You could kind of see.
It wasn't
potential of what you could.
Yeah. Well, not really. I realized
You're like, I'm not evil. I'm not like
that's
them.
not me.
Yeah.
You know, I realized like, you know,
Interesting.
you know, what I was doing with, you know, the bad stuff that I did was just me being a drunk idiot.
Yeah.
With no real direction in life, and kind of like prison kind of like forced me to evaluate that, and then got back in shape in prison. I kind of like stayed away with the weird politics in prison, and I got in shape. I met Richard, who was a purple belt, and I was just into fitness. I got really good in shape, and then yeah, I got out 21 months later, and then I wanted to get into fitness.
Yeah.
So I went to university for a year. At first, I thought I'd go in kinesiology, but I really wanted to be just a personal trainer. So eventually, after the 1 year at university, I decided to go Cartagena Boreal. In the meantime, I was also training. I had found a gym. It was called Team Shredder, and yeah. So I was training. I was going to school, and I just started creating momentum for myself.
Nice.
So I was, at the time when I started becoming a personal trainer, I was doing a lot of in-house stuff. I'd go to people's house and train my clients.
That's it.
And it gave me the ability and the schedule so I could train the way I want to train, because it was an outlet. I don't know if it was an outlet. I'm a person that is addictive to just anything. So if I start drinking, I'll drink a lot.
Yeah.
If I train, I'll train a lot.
Yeah. Ice baths.
So yeah. So
I'm with you.
So going to the gym every day and getting obsessed with that was obviously a better alternative of going to the pub and drinking my first away, right?
Definitely.
So I'm kind of like I'm an all-in kind of guy.
Yeah.
It's rare that I could just have a beer. That's why I stay away from it, because I can't.
I see.
Sure, some social, kind of like places I can.
You found a way to like mitigate it socially,
Yeah, but overall, that's why I got into training at first, and I started creating momentum for myself, and then got my first pro fight, and then at the time there was no 135ers, 145ers in the UFC, so my aspiration wasn't really in the UFC because they only had 155 to 205 at the time when I started my career. Yeah, and then early through my probably 4 or 5 pro fights in, the UFC inquired the WEC, which they had all the smaller weight categories.
Unreal, yeah.
And then it was like, oh, okay, now I could possibly fight for the UFC eventually.
Yeah,
right?
there's some potential.
Yeah, and I was, building momentum there, and I won a title. I won a title. When was it? 2011. Yeah, like my sixth fight. I was like 5-1, 6-1, 7-1. Yeah, something like that. And then I wanted to capture the. I was actually a featherweight half of my career. 45. And then,
I'm kidding, yeah.
And then I want to, after I won my first title, defended my first title, I decided I want to try to get the 135-pound strap too. So I made the necessary cuts and change to, diet-wise and stuff to get to 135. And then I fought once at 135 pre-UFC, and then I got signed right after.
How many amateur fights did you have?
There's no really amateur.
No such thing back then?
There's no amateur shows back then. Yeah, no, it's a long time ago still. There was not enough amateurs. I don't even know if they had amateur shows. I'm not gonna lie. If there was any, it was far and few in between.
So you had what, 7 or 8 before?
I was
going UFC.
I was 8-1 when I signed with the UFC.
Oh, no kidding. Yeah, it's been 9 fights.
Yeah.
All first round, most of them. Or?
When I defended my title, I TKO'd him in the third. But yeah, I would say, yeah, most of my fights pre-UFC were all first round finishes.
Nice. So no like crazy
My
long.
third fight was a decision loss.
Yeah.
But I would say, yeah, I'm pretty sure all my wins prior to the UFC, yeah, they were all first round finishes.
Unreal.
Yeah.
That's sick.
Yeah.
So kind of taking away, like if we look at that section of your career leading up to like, okay, sign professional organization, or what now is still recognized globally as a professional organization, whereas back when, like you said, professional amateur, there wasn't any. What do you take from that time now, or from that time then, and go and apply it to your athletes now? Like you guys need X amount of fights. Like, is there a trajectory? Like, what's kind of from that time?
Yeah. So what I think the reason why the reason why I had success back then is I had already a lot of combat experience. Although it wasn't MMA, but wrestling. I mean, we were back then in Sturgeon, we were a force to reckon to be a small community in wrestling. We were doing every other weekend tournaments, so I had a lot of matches, and I had started in grade 5. So I've had those jitters and whatnot, where like the guys that I were competing against, they had some kickboxing tournament or fights and stuff like that, but nowhere near my type of experience. So one, I realized, not then, actually, more now as a coach, I was like, well, now we have a platform that we could do amateur fights. Because the reality is in pro fighting, right? If you start a career bad, let's say you lose your first 3 fights, and your goal and your aspiration is to go into the show, whether it's UFC belt or one. There's obviously more than one pro organization now. But anyways, they're not gonna look at you if you're 8 and 8.
Yeah.
Even if you would lose your first 8 and then win your next 8, they wouldn't look at you. Right? So your record matters.
Yeah.
The UFC wants to sign 9-0 guys.
Yeah, like professional 9-0 guys before.
Right? So
interesting.
Going to the amateur circuit gives you the ability to not stress about the record and go through the experience, go through the jitters, go through the process. And don't get me wrong when I say not caring about the win and W. Of course, I want the guys to win. Hands down. But
a bit bigger.
I want them to have the experience.
Yeah.
Because you could be, I know guys just go, get into this sport. I remember guys, man, guys that would lit me up in the gym.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden they go and fight for real, and they would crap the bed.
Yeah.
All the time. I'd call them gym champions.
Yeah.
It's they're really good at the gym when it's all comfortable.
Hell
They're in
yeah.
front. They're with their friends. But as soon as there's the lights and the crowd and the stress and whatnot, they would shit the bed. So going in through the amateur circuit, you could go through that and you could shit the bed.
Yeah.
Until you figure it out, until you control, the experience is not just the fight itself, it's everything surrounding the fight. Getting used to all those stimulus, so you can control. 'Cause a lot of time you'll see people when you see a guy why is he gassed out in the first round?
Yeah.
Well, it's not because he didn't do a good training camp or he's out of shape. It's because he didn't control his anxiety.
They just don't get it.
His nervous system just shut down because he was hyperventilating, forgot to breathe, there's a perfect threshold of what they call the alpha state.
Yeah.
Right? Well, the SEALs and stuff, they do that 10 times more with live rounds and scenarios where they put their guys into real scenarios to eventually being able to own that kind of alpha state where there's enough stress but you're able to control it, and it's the perfect balance of all the emotions and stuff. Right? Well, you need to train that, right? So being able to do it in the amateur world where I didn't get the chance, and all my athletes are young. Why rush these kids, right?
Early 20s.
Yeah, mid-20s, early 20s. Yeah.
So it's definitely seemed like it's developed a lot now. Where it's back then it was just you had to compete in something else in order to.
Yeah, exactly.
So you're ready that. Okay. Interesting. Do you have, speaking of your athletes, before we keep going, do you have 1 or 2 athletes right now that you think do go pro?
Yeah, I have a couple. I have two of them. I'd like for them to get to go pro, start of next year.
Oh no shit. Right on.
Yeah, I have a couple of them that I want. They have a couple fights lined up this year, and then after that, I mean, it's time for them. It's either that, they have it or they don't.
Right.
And yeah, they're at that point now. Yeah, for sure.
Right on. How do you gauge that?
I mean, I have like, obviously I'll break the rule, kind of like my rule, on.
Because they're all different.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
So
there's
like
no cookie cutter.
Yeah. So ideally, I wouldn't mind them getting 10 amateur fights.
Yeah.
And they could be 5-5. I don't care.
Yeah.
Right? The record is meaningless in the sense of like, because you have to understand like, now these organizations, like the first 3 fights you can't even, or the first 2 fights you can't even ground and pound. So like you get caught in a submission because it becomes a grappling round.
Because they can't hit you, yeah.
Right, so it's like, okay, you got caught because you had to all of a sudden do Jiu Jitsu.
Yeah.
It's not really MMA, right? So that's what I mean. Like, if they're like 0-10, I mean, it's like, well, it's probably not for you. The sport's probably not for you.
And you should have figured that out at fight 7.
Yeah, for sure. And
like,
for me as a coach, I would have never let that happen.
You're like, but this one, this is the one.
Yeah.
That'd be a crazy coaching thing to do.
Yeah.
It's like 9 losses. You're like, but 10.
Yeah. So, like, for me, it's get the experience, get the jitters, learn how to diet properly, all that. Just the social, like, not the social media, but the media.
Yeah.
Like, all that. You gotta get used to that.
In what sense too? Because I definitely think media part is so much more important now.
Yeah.
And I think it probably was important then.
It was very important.
And
I wish I would have known.
I think too, you were honestly doing it, but I think there was no clear like, how do we use this? Because it wasn't a tool back then as it was now.
Yeah, I would do it. I wouldn't do it. The intent was never to, I guess, gain followers.
Like become famous, basically.
The idea to do the content was just, for the people that would follow me, I guess.
Yeah.
And
it'd be like
really,
local
I never
support.
really put it into thought. I knew I needed to do it.
Yeah.
I did it. I didn't have any strategic way to do it. I just kind of like impulsively did stuff.
Yeah.
You
have some good stuff with Cliff.
Yeah.
Like with Cliff and Sean and stuff like that.
No, yeah, like they, like I had hired Cliff at the beginning of my career or mid-career, whatever it was, tell me out with social media. Like I tried. I was never really like, there's people that have a knack for it. It just like, so some people just are natural at it.
He is.
It's not forced.
For sure.
And for me, I always felt like it was forced. I still do feel like it's forced.
Yeah.
Like I have to do it.
Because you like understand there's like a benefit, but it's I think too, doing a lot of research on this lately too, is I think everybody, when they start out doing any form of on or in front of the camera, they have to go through, and I heard this woman on this podcast like a week ago refer to it as cringe mountain. They're like, everybody has to climb cringe mountain when doing media, because everybody's dude, first couple, like for 12 podcasts I did, I was like, this nobody should listen to this. I was like, I don't even want to be there. Oh man, it was bad. Yeah. So it was like, you go through those cringy things where you're so worried, and you're like, you have like this paralysis by analysis where you're always hyper fixated on what you're saying and how other people are going to think, and then you're like, whatever, I don't care. Once you climb that, I think everybody can do it. Yeah. But like you said, with like, this, when you could apply this to a lot of skills where it's like, it's just reps, right? It's like, just do good reps.
No, listen, for sure. Like I'm sure.
But it was different.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. But yeah, more so for the media was like, because when you're like an amateur and stuff, you're not getting asked to do interviews, and like I remember.
Yeah.
Fuck. Man. I was so bad at it because I thought I had to respond right away. If you
like
ever
immediately.
Ever seen like somebody, like just throw his name on there because he's one of the most famous MMA guy. But if you would see his interviews, he would get asked a question, he would reflect on the question a little bit. He didn't just grab the mic, and sometimes he did if something popped up in his head. But go look at most of his interviews, Conor McGregor.
Yeah.
He would actually like.
He pauses.
He would pause
quite a bit.
Where I felt like I would have to mumble something out right away.
And it never sounds good.
It just never sounded You know.
Interesting.
You know, so I wish there'd be more, you know, media coaching and you know, all that stuff.
Yeah.
And realizing it, you know, just the little things that I know now. Like, yeah, it's okay. Like, you're asking me a question. It's okay for me to pause and think about your question.
Mm-hmm.
And now you just like, blah, 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 blah. And that's
Yeah.
what I would do. I
Yeah.
would literally, because obviously the stress.
Yeah.
You know, I remember one of my interviews with Ariel Awani. Is one of my first win or my second win.
Yeah.
He had asked. Oh yeah, it was my first win in the UFC. He had asked me how did I train for this tall guy, Willel Watson, and you know, and I went and I said, well, I got a lot of training partners that are 5'11", 5'12". And obviously, you don't say 5'12". You know, so yeah, I would just blur shit out without like.
I knew you were gonna say it. It's so funny.
But I have a lot of
time.
those little things because I didn't take the time to listen to the question, and really put thought into my answer.
I will say this in your defense. I challenge anybody to run 3 40-yard sprints with 10-second at 10-second intervals, and then I'm gonna ask them a question that I've been thinking of for a while. Very calm. Mm-hmm. You know, it's like do 50 jumping jacks, a bunch of push-ups here.
Yeah.
You know, Blake Griffin does a really cool example on Kimmel because Kimmel made fun of him for it, or Fallon made fun of him for it, and he's like, okay, do 30 jumping jacks. He's like, okay, so how'd that win in the third quarter make that feel? And he's like, and it's like, yeah. It's like you're kind of, you know, you just fought a guy for what have you, 15 minutes, and then all of a sudden he's like, yeah,
no, for sure.
There's definitely so to your point, that's why it's like so important, but that's also why I've kind of and I just thought this one day. I was like, that's also why I don't push it, but I'm like, I'll throw it at some of the MMA guys. I'm like, you should do the show. It's not for like it's to build them, and it's to, hey man, you guys want to sound good and go on Rogan one day. Yeah. If you're too nervous fight week or the week after to do my show, how is that gonna?
100%.
You know what I mean? Something like that. So I'm like, hey, you should do this. You should. I've had people cancel last minute, 2 weeks out of a fight, ex-athletes because they've been too nervous.
Yeah.
I'm like, well, good luck in the show.
Yeah. No, for sure. No, it's good. It's good
tricky.
practice. It's good. They got to do it. Yeah. I wish they would have kind of I guess they did push it. I mean, but I guess more of a strategic way. Like now you see them all, right? They all have their characters.
They all do it, yeah.
And they play these characters. It's who they are, but they're putting content out there, right? So
it's almost
super important.
I think so too.
Oh, it's super important. I know guys that got cut who had, 4-2 records in the UFC, but they weren't selling anything. Their social media was 1,000 followers. Yeah. And I'm not saying I have tons of followers, but back then they were really pushing Twitter. Yeah. So I put all my eggs in my basket. Yeah. Twitter, and I was heavily in Twitter.
You grew it.
I grew it.
Yeah.
I had quite a decent following on Twitter. But I knew guys that had 6 fights in the UFC with 1,000 followers on Twitter, and it's like, well, dude, that's why they cut you. Yeah, there's no engagement with you. And so you're not engaging with the fans, and you're in the era. If you want to do this, you're in an era that you have to. It's not like back in the day people would read up on you in the papers and you would buy the tickets. And we're past
way past that. Yeah.
You need to build yourself. Either be authentic, build a character like fucking Kobe. You could hate that guy, but he's a multimillionaire because he built that character. So at the end of the day, people are gonna shit on him. And don't get me wrong, he said some outlandish shit that he deserves a backlash. But at the same time, I'll never see that guy ever again in my life. Yeah. Now he has millions in his pockets. He wins. Mm-hmm. He wins. Yeah. Right? Conor McGregor, he rubbed a lot of people the wrong way. Yeah. He wins.
Yeah. You can't do one without having the other.
So it's like. Yeah. They, one day knew for whatever reason, I don't know if they knew or they didn't, and it's just in their character. But they did the right things.
Mm-hmm.
You know, me and Conor McGregor signed in 2012
Yeah, no shit.
at the same time.
Yeah.
You know, he was just an outspoken,
Very. Yeah.
you know, very out there. And he knew what he had to do.
Mm-hmm.
Plus, he was skillful.
Yeah, he's very good.
You know, so.
Yeah.
You know, yeah. No, he's the one who was on his yacht laughing
Yeah.
at everybody that was hating on him. You know,
Yeah.
so, including me, I hated on him a little bit at the beginning until I realized
if
what
you
he was
don't,
doing.
yeah.
Right. Like
It takes a bit to figure it out.
I didn't realize there was like. It was a show.
Mm.
It was purely him promoting a character. It might be a little bit of him, but I don't think he's that person. Well, I met
No.
him. He's not that person.
And wasn't he just talking about that too, where he's like the promoter, being a promoter and a fighter, it'll like eat at you a bit?
Mm.
And I was like, oh jeez.
Yeah.
He's like, I love being a promoter, I love being a fighter. He's like, being both is like,
Yeah.
nobody tells you have to be both. You have to take it upon yourself to be the second
For
one
sure.
as well. And I was like,
Yeah.
oh shit.
Yeah, definitely.
That's
And
a crazy.
He did it. He did it the best.
No, better than anybody, yeah.
Nobody.
Not even
nobody
close.
Will ever. Not anytime soon, anyways. Not anytime
No.
soon.
And the way they'll do it will be like not even like something completely different.
Yeah, it'll have to, right? Because now everybody's
It's different.
calling everybody like. You
Yeah.
know, stop taking a playbook of Conor McGregor, right?
Yeah, legit. Because there's no other way to do it, and it works. So it's
Yeah.
like, damn.
Yeah.
But it does come across very. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
fake.
It's fake. Yeah.
But for him, it wasn't. It was like a turned up to 11 pro wrestler version.
Yeah.
That is like, you know, he didn't have to become like some different.
Yeah, I don't know if you could do it again, right? Like I think
Yeah.
he did it. He was the first one to do it, like really at that level.
Really push it, yeah.
And now it's like it's either there needs to be like a whole new generation of fans that
Mhm.
forgets completely that era
Which, good luck, yeah.
for it to be able for the next person to be able to do that again.
Mm-hmm.
You know, plain and simple. Right? So,
Yeah.
you know, you'll get some fame like Patty Pimblett and stuff like that.
Yeah.
You know, but it's still that
Personalities.
character. The personality's the same personality.
Yeah.
You're not throwing anything new there. You know, somebody did it already.
Have you ever thought about having like the lads sit down and you just bring in like a Cliff or somebody on that idea to be like, hey, you really need to figure out who you like, what your niche is and who your like target audience is with this, with the content you're doing, because they're already doing it for the most part, and be like, you know, steer like, you know, maybe like, you know, Jesse down like the deep blue collar construction work, because that's what like Marab and Mighty Mouse, right? That's what a lot of those guys like. That's their, you know, they're doing construction, then training, and more training, right?
Yeah.
Right. You know, you've been doing it as well, so that's kind of the whole thing I'm thinking of. I'm like, you thought about getting something like, or is it?
You know what? That's a good question. It's something that I kind of like briefly talked about.
Yeah.
I never had like a team meeting about it.
Sure.
But I've talked about it, like how the importance of social media and selling yourself a little bit, if you know. But I've never had like a real, sit down with them and at what level it is important.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a good question. I should probably, you know, set something up for them so
Yeah.
they could have ideas and you know, put something together where it's structural, you know.
In a way, it also helps the gym
Of
as well
course,
by
yeah.
proxy, right?
Yeah, of course.
Which is like, that's the way I'm like, if I build up these individuals, because that's what the UFC did, is they built up stars, and that made the product really good, and that's what makes the product really like, you know, done really well. And then it's like you said, it's like now it's like the very low percentage fighter pay versus I think each gym needs to also kind of do that in a smaller scale of like, hey, you need to like push, and I think we're doing that pretty well anyway, like pushing like, hey, these are like the guys that we see, you know, like get ready, like build them up a bit, and then almost act as like a promotion in itself.
Yeah, you're not
in a
wrong.
weird way.
I
then
think,
I'm like,
I think
it's just
me
interesting
as the
for me.
gym owner should push kind of like doing, you know, content, you know, on the individual, you know, students of ours, right?
Yeah.
Like kind of like meet the fighter type of thing. Meet this, you know.
Specifically fighters too, I think
Yeah.
are like, yeah. And then I think you can go two ways about it. You can go fighters, and then you go, because I look at like fighters are inspiration. They're not as inspirational, I'd say. It's like it's cool to see like those stories and those journeys go. But then I think on a flip, you have to look at like the dad of 3 or the single
100%.
mom of 2 that's also training and her kids are training.
Yeah.
That are like blue belts training 4 times a week doing privates as well, also being a mother at home.
Listen,
is
and, yeah.
both directions I think go really good. This is like welcomes those people into that community, and then also pushes like, hey, have competitive athletes that are like scratching that surface.
Yeah, like to be honest, like as I get older, when I first started this in my early 30s, it was like all about competing, athletes. And, but as I get older, being a parent myself, and then seeing, mid 40 parent decide to come and do jiu-jitsu and really like give an effort to it,
and they do,
and they do, is very, very inspiring. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
Like every time I see a guy, like, he puts his kid in. I just had this one guy started 2 weeks ago because he put his 2 kids in, and I was like, he's 49 and he wasn't sure if, I was like, man, just come in, do your thing.
Yeah, try to help.
At the end of the day, if you don't have an ego, there's a safe word here. It's called tapping.
Yeah.
Tap and you move on.
Yeah, get over it.
Right? It's like there's literally no ego, and then you get a little bit better, and then eventually
Yeah, and then you
and now
develop an ego, and then
yeah, right. But now he's been doing it for 2 weeks, and he's just been loving it.
Yeah.
And it's like two things happen when you do obviously jiu-jitsu and other martial arts, but
Jiu-Jitsu is great, like entry into it.
For sure.
Easier
It's
for that.
either you realize that you're not the person you thought you were.
Yes.
Because most men think that they can fight.
Freaking all men, yeah.
Right? And so then they're like, oh, I don't know how to fight.
Yeah.
I want to learn how to fight.
Yeah.
Or they just never show up and they make a bunch of excuses.
Yeah, I have a couple buddies like that. Yeah.
Yeah, I know a lot of people like that.
Yo, I'm sure you hundreds. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's crazy. To your point, I sort of cut you off there. I think I have had buddies that have never trained, were like very like ego centric, and then when I came back from living in Ottawa and I like trained there for like 3 months, like a season, like a semester basically, trained in Ottawa, did a bunch of stuff, and then came in October 2018 to start here. And I remember like a couple months into November, I had like a good friend of mine, like Ego Big, whatever, and he was like, oh, you're really into this jiu-jitsu thing. I was like, yeah, he's coming, probably done like, did like 2 classes, whatever, all good. And I tell all my friends, I'm like, I don't need you, and I don't care if you stick with it. I don't expect you to be obsessed and become like, train for 7 years like I did. Like, I don't expect that. But I'm like, I do expect you, like, just do one. Just do one, no pressure, no expectation, 0. They're a different person after. It's either like choked out by a female if they had like a weird ego, and then, or it's just like, to your point, thought they could fight, and then it's like, oh, I can't even grapple this dude now. I'm stuck. This guy's way smaller.
Yeah.
What's going on?
Yeah.
So yeah, I think to your point, that's very important.
It is very
And it's cool to see the like older people get into it and be like,
it's
oh man, I think steering 2 narratives of like, look at these guys growing, and then look at these like adults that are just like, hey, we started 2 weeks ago, or we started 3 months ago, like, like, what do you like, why'd you get into it? And especially if they're like, oh, we put our kids in first, then it made us do it. It's like, now it like it made it better. They also got like, there's a deal on family membership, like it's cool because it's like those people pay the bills and keep the lights on, and then the MMA guys are what bring like the big validity to it. I think as well. I think in a perfect world it
they do. They
complements.
They do complement each other big time. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So we mentioned, we're talking about parents and having kids. I have a few friends, I'm sure you do as well, that have kids that are also training or like looking to like go pro or have amateur career. I have a couple friends of mine when I asked this question because I told them you were coming on, and they said ask them. So were you had kids when you're also fighting professional, correct?
Yeah.
How did you, like, what was your training schedule like in that time first before we go to balance it? Because I want to ask those questions, but
For sure. I wouldn't be the guy to actually ask these questions. I'll tell you why. When I got my kids, when I actually got Alexandra in 2015, I just the previous year or the beginning of that year, I tore my ACL.
right,
While Renee was pregnant, I tore my ACL. Well, I partially tore it in the Burrell fight in 2014, and then like 3 weeks later, I briefly jumped on the mats, trained, and I completely tore my ACL after that.
yeah,
So then I went through my ACL surgery, obviously, which is a 9-month protocol, and then in the middle of that, Renee gave birth to my daughter.
mm-hmm.
And then at the same time, I jumped into training too quickly before
Mm-hmm.
I was supposed to because of my ACL stuff, and hurt my back
Mm-hmm.
a lot. And then I eventually got back surgery the year after.
I see what you mean.
And then, 2.5 years later, I tried to do a comeback.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, in Ottawa.
No, I did a Toronto card first.
Okay.
No, I fought in Toronto first in 2016 or so.
Yeah, that's right.
And then lost that fight to the decision. Started another training camp. And then through that training camp, I tore my ACL again. And then that was like, then I got my second child during that
Mm-hmm.
procedure. So like my first 5-6 years of me being a dad was me healing up from surgeries after surgeries, also trying to make a comeback to the show. As far as like, I guess your question would be like, how did I manage?
I see what you mean by like not the person asked the
I'm
question.
not the
Balance
person
that.
because
Yeah,
my last fight,
that makes sense.
I didn't enjoy. It's hard to say. I didn't enjoy my training camp because I was
Mhm.
away. I was in Toronto and I had brand new babies at home because I wasn't doing my training camp here.
Yeah.
So I was away 6 weeks, so I didn't enjoy that at all.
We're in Toronto. Where were you doing your training camp?
Well, I was a little bit everywhere, like
Yeah.
I used to.
I guess so. Yeah.
I'd go to Parabellum, Niagara,
Yeah.
Top Team, Brock University.
Yeah.
Kind of like bounce around a couple gyms, and I remember being in the corner in between rounds in my last fight, telling myself I just want to go home. So
Yeah.
it wasn't just a coupling of like me having kids. It was also me going through so many injuries, surgeries
Yeah.
to try to come back.
Yeah.
I think I burnt out.
Oh,
The love
are
of
you
the
kidding?
sport.
Yeah.
Because from 2015 to 2019, I think I had like 7 surgeries. 5 on my right knee, and then my back surgery.
That's crazy.
And so to the point of like, I don't think it's in the perfect balance of
Yeah.
of me answering your buddy's question.
Yeah, I think because the question I'm always curious about as well as them was like, how do you balance having kids and training to be a professional athlete? But your example and your story is so specific to you that like nobody will have that.
Yeah,
Nobody have nobody. Those.
Yeah.
Right, with that times of fights, training camp, moving, going to newborns.
Yeah.
Okay, so what I'm wondering, pair this with, what do you think a optimal mix and training schedule looks like for somebody who's maybe like had a couple of amateur fights, but is like hoping to develop while also like balance the strength and conditioning, the wrestling, the kickboxing, the jiu-jitsu, the grappling, all that stuff, and then MMA sparring with. What do you think the optimal like training schedule looks like in a 7-day span? You think for like a
Well, it's funny, right? Like you look at all, you look at like all professional sports, right? Is there any other professional sports that they're consistently doing 2-a-days?
intentionally no.
Sometimes they will.
Yeah.
But
The outliers will.
you know. But in general, I think doing 2 a day, whether you have a full-time job or not, consistently, brings a lot of injuries.
Mm-hmm.
Right? That's if I have one regret in my career, would be one, not taking care of my injuries, because everything that happened to me could have been prevented.
Yeah, the injury thing. Yeah.
Like, not my first ACL surgeries, but my back surgery was because I came on the mats too soon and I was compensating. It wasn't, my leg wasn't fully functional when I was training. Hurt my back because of it. That weakened the surgery because I was on the mats sooner than I should have been. So, anyways, not to go in kind of like details, but a lot of my injuries could have been prevented by taking care of myself better. But I was like, again, to the point of earlier when I was like, I say I'm all in to something, I'm all in.
Yeah.
I would train 2-3 times a day, and did that made me the person I am and success? I don't know. Because, and I'm talking about like those are injuries, surgery injuries, but I've had plenty of injuries.
Oh, yeah.
Where I had to take 6 weeks off because I had an LCL grade 1 tear.
Yeah, or like a neck issue or.
And right, so it's like, okay, I do two a day. I do 2 a day because I want to be always in shape. I want to be
that's
ahead
what
of
it
everybody,
takes.
right? But then I get injured, and then those 2 days
No days.
become no days. So instead of being consistent every day throughout the year, I would do 2-3 days, and then I had to take 4 or 5 weeks off. And that was every year.
Yeah.
LCL, MCL, this and that, and it's like.
And it's recovering time, not
But put it this way,
Yeah.
I don't think me doing 2 days and getting injured all the time, I had more mat time than a person that is consistently doing 1 a day.
Right.
And consistently.
Like when you say consistent, what is that? Like every other day, or you're saying 1 a day, 7 days a week?
I would say 1 a day, 5 days a week.
1 a day, 5 days a week.
Yeah.
What's a good mix, you think, of strength and conditioning?
I would say,
Like
I'd
training.
say, so.
From what you've seen work.
That's a good question. I would say, okay, out of camp. Well, it's also based on the person. You know, I'm gonna name drop a little bit here, but like, I'll give you an example. Like Nico, I tell Nico, and I tell him all the time, to lift 3-4 times a week. Right?
Yeah.
Where with Jesse, I would say, Jesse, you don't have to lift at all.
Yeah.
Focus on your mobility.
Oh, goodness, yeah.
Right?
That
Because
dude.
you're stiff as a board.
A couple times a week, I'll call and be like, when's the last time you, like, use this so right?
Yeah.
You know? Anyways, yeah.
Yeah, so, right? So it's an
Don't lift,
individual.
Yeah.
It has to be a little bit individual. So,
No, it makes sense.
so yeah, I guess to give you, ideal, let's say, perfect world, you got decent mobility, you check all the lists on what decent mobility is,
Yeah.
decent strength is. I would say out of cap, lift a little bit more.
Yeah. Maybe 2 a week?
Yeah. And then when you're like 6 weeks out, focus more on the sport you're doing. And just be consistent. Be on the mats, be consistent. Yeah.
And like find a like mix of like between your kickboxing and your wrestling, jiu-jitsu, grappling.
Yeah, exactly. Again, that's going to be individual, right?
Right. Yeah.
Right. Some people are natural grapplers. Some people are natural strikers.
Some people mix it together
And then,
better.
And then as you get more into in the fight game, and you actually like at the beginning of my MMA program is about 4 or 5 years old, so it's young, right?
Yeah.
So studying tapes on their opponent is not really there right now.
No.
You know.
Everybody's developing so quickly.
Well, that and there's not a lot of footage.
That's true.
Amateur, it's hard to get footage amateur.
Yeah.
Right? You get the odd clip here and there.
It's like terrible quality. You can't quite see it. Yeah.
So eventually, then you go to pro, and then you got more clips on your opponent, and you can start strategically planning on who's the opponent, what should we work on, yada yada yada.
Yeah.
So I would say, I think consistency, being consistent in your training, being aware of your own energy system, it's a very age matters. So if you're injured, you're burnt out, it's okay not to go live. Come and do the drilling part.
Yeah.
be there for the team, stuff like that, and not always have to redline your body. And it's hard because like in the practice that I do, I try to redline them, and it's like
Yep. That's twice a week,
it's twice a week,
right? Twice or three.
sometimes three.
Yeah.
They spar on Saturdays if there's fights, or Fridays. Now we started Fridays, but and then it's like, well, Tuesdays and Thursdays, guys, it's like come to practice, but it's okay just to roll with the white belt. It's okay
Yeah.
to say no to Jesse. You don't want that smoke today, right? I was like, no, I don't want this today. I just don't.
Yeah. You have
I don't
zero chill, man.
Yeah.
You have
Like, no, I
gas
don't
to
want
the
it.
floor or zero.
Yeah, which is fine. Like,
Yeah, I love it.
But I don't need that round if I don't
Yeah.
want it.
Yeah.
I have no ego. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's so it's like it's okay to go and on top of that, like you're never gonna develop your game if you're always trying to go after the hardest roll,
Yeah.
right? You want to develop something new, well, don't try it on me,
No. Do not.
right?
Yeah.
Like hit it on the white belts. Okay, now you're
Yeah.
getting some success there. Okay, go hit it on the blue belts.
Yeah.
And then eventually you're going to get into a problem. You're going to be like, okay, why am I getting into this problem?
Yeah. Why is this person causing me these issues,
Exactly.
but nobody else at
Then
that
you
level?
can correct it and
Mhm.
what have you to accomplish what you're looking for, right? So that's kind of like how the development happens in
Yeah.
my head. So put fucking rounds with white belts. You know what I mean? Give up your back if you want. Like, think about it. One, you're giving them an ego boost from passing your guard, taking your back.
Yeah. Let them think they are.
Yeah, and then you're working on what you want to do. You want to escape the back take,
Mhm.
practicing new things on the back take, right, or whatever. Just kind of giving you an example. So
No,
it's
good.
always going to be very, very hard because it's like I can't control or monitor everybody's stress level,
Yeah, all at once.
even from sleeping.
Yeah.
How sleeping is important, nutrition is important. Yeah, so like I can't monitor all that. So
Right.
like athlete has to do, like for me. Listen, I was although I was like I had a naturopath and I was paying a naturopath to kind of like guide me through stuff. Like
Nice.
I still had to do the work,
Yeah, it's still all on you.
right? So like I had my HRV monitor
Yeah.
religiously. I would do my HRV.
Yeah. Track sleep.
Track sleep, my stress levels, if I could, if it was a good day to peak, or like I would literally follow, kind of like that. Again, a little harder because, when you're a team, you still have to be there for your teammate and stuff like that. So it's not perfect, but at least it gives you kind of like, I'm a big fan of the HRV system. And now
Yeah.
it's more advanced. I haven't read up on it in a couple of years, but kind of like briefly looked into it the other day, and it's like it's very advanced now.
Yeah.
What you could do with the system where like 10 years ago was
No
when I
idea.
was doing it was gave you some good kind of like guidelines of where you're at,
Yeah.
your stress level and what have you. But anyhow, yeah, the guys are adults. They have to they're grown men, and they have to do their due diligence. I can't monitor
Yeah.
everything. I can't be coach, nutritionist, dad,
Yeah.
mentor. Like
Dad.
Oh,
is
I
hilarious.
dad some of them.
Oh, yeah.
So
It's funny you say that. We were at, what was it? You were at a, because I'm assuming you don't put the pressure on that you have to be somebody's, like, your athlete's father's, like, dad role. But I'm sure some, like, I'm sure some of them are like,
Oh, yeah,
like,
for
yeah,
sure.
like, obvious. But there's, thinking of an example, I think a couple Christmases ago at your house, or a birthday or something. And I remember somebody saying, and like this person just had been through it, and I remember this person saying, I think all of us look at you as a father. And I remember going, that's crazy. Because I was like, I have a dad, dude.
Yeah.
I thought it was so funny. They were like, yeah, coach, I think, all of us look at you as some form of father figure. I'm like, I just thought,
yeah,
I was
dude,
like,
I get
that
calls from
many?
every athlete's. I get a call at least once a day from one of them.
what?
Yeah.
I thought it was like weekly.
No, one a day.
Awesome.
One a day. Which, listen,
Sure, you feel good about it? Like, it's sweet?
Happy to do it.
Yeah.
Have that kind of like roll a little bit, but it gets to me as far as like man, because
Yeah.
like you have to understand, like when I was fighting, I wasn't chasing my coaches. I mean, my coaches weren't chasing me.
Right.
They weren't.
Right.
If I wanted the extra, I would call them, text them, beg them.
Mm-hmm.
Like really, I would show them that I really want the work.
Yeah.
Like, I want to learn from you. Like I made it a point for me to go to them to like. They were like, "Hey, where are you? Why are you missing class?"
Yeah.
Like, no, man.
Here and there,
Of
maybe,
course,
but
man.
like if you miss a month and we haven't heard, it's like,
I'm not saying I didn't miss
right.
sessions, but nobody was texting me
No.
to see where I was.
Yeah.
And nobody was doing my own medicals.
Yeah. You got me thinking when it comes to, you mentioned athletes and picking days and stuff like that and how you're feeling. You got me thinking, do you have any, and having no ego, do you have anybody that you roll with or train with that you're like, no matter what, when you roll with these people, or kickboxing, spar, whatever, when you go with them, no matter what, you're like, this is to the death.
Yeah,
like, there's no way I'm letting these people get any jump on me.
Yeah.
Because I know a lot of the time they're like, you know, you're working shit, right? Because you
Sure.
just said it, you're like, no, try these things on these purple belts or blue
Yeah.
belts, right? Like, you got to develop those techniques as well.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have anybody in particular? Yeah?
Oh
Yeah?
there's quite a bit actually.
Quite a bit? That
Yeah.
you're like, there's like 17 people.
Yeah, there's quite a bit.
Hit me with a few.
All right, well,
I love it. Because, I mean, it's not negative in any
No,
way.
no, no.
It's like, you have to just know way this...
I'll put it this way: if any of these guys ever catch me, it's because they deserved it, not because I was
Okay.
working on stuff.
Okay.
I don't let Jesse any fucking hand up. I don't let Corey any hand. I don't.
Nothing.
Nope. Fucking Ashton for sure.
Well, yeah.
I'll never get him.
Yeah.
I'll never do a light round with him. Never, because he tries to rip your head off.
He has no chill at all. I love
Every
him.
chance
Dude.
he has,
He's the
so-
best.
Out of the top of my head, that'd be those three.
Yeah.
You
Nice.
know? Yeah.
Hell yeah. I like
Because
it.
I know they're going to be so proud when they catch me too.
Yeah, it matters to them.
Oh,
Yeah.
it matters to them.
Like, it doesn't...
Yeah.
I would quit, probably, training if I got you.
Yeah?
Yeah, no, not at all. I don't care. Makes no difference.
For me, it makes no difference.
It makes no
I'm at a
difference.
point where, like, it's inevitable, man. All of you are going to
Yeah,
eventually
I
catch
guess
me.
so.
Like,
Yeah, awesome.
but, you know.
So, I'm
try to
curious.
prevent it as long as I can.
Yeah. It's like, I'll never let them. He'll be 7 years old and just like, Ashton's throwing up a buggy choke. And you're like, oops. Just, my goodness. Goddamn buggy choke, eh? Ah, man, he's just not built quite to do it. But anyways, it's my opinion. So, I'm curious, because I know people have their own ways of doing this, and we had it yesterday. When it comes to, because I want to ask you this, I want to ask you and I want to ask Monkey this, but when it comes to grading and deciding, like, who levels up, how things go, I know it's tricky because it's in the gi and, like, sizes and MMA focus, like, how do you go about navigating those decisions? I've always been curious to ask you this.
Man, for me, it's very simple. It's simple enough. I look at movement. I look how well you move.
Movement.
Yeah.
Interesting.
I look how well you move. Are you forcing things? Are you?
Yeah.
Is it choppy? There's obviously that aspect, and then obviously knowing the skills, right?
Yeah.
It's like I know there's a lot of like professors and other like facility that has like a check mark, and to me a check mark thing is it's like man, you can know these techniques, and then can you apply these techniques?
Yeah.
Right. There's two different things, right?
Right.
There's probably people that you know, we could sit here and they'll tell me 70 variations of a technique that I have no idea of.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like I'll roll with them and you can't even do nothing.
Can't do it. Yeah.
You know, and it's like
I
so
see.
it's like there's
Yeah.
a balance there. I think the best form of it, like obviously there's like two ways. You know, and then there's like the
Yeah,
grading
there's a lot
thing.
to.
It's like,
It's so different though for everybody.
I was at for the longest time. I was like, well, not everybody could be a black belt, and it's fine.
Right.
But it's like you're on the mats for 14 years and you're still a brown belt. It's like,
Yeah.
you know, and then you're 55. Well, I mean, there's limitations. I'm not gonna give him his black belt because, you know. So it's a touchy subject, right? So it's like, are you competing? A lot of your goals are to compete. I'm gonna pull you back way more.
Right.
Right. I think it's important, right? Because, you know, when you're in your 20s, you got a lifetime.
Yeah. What's the rush?
To becoming
Who
a
cares?
black belt, right? And
Yeah.
then get graded. Yeah. So it's for me, it's feel, movement, technique, obviously, or you know what I mean?
Yeah. Application of it.
Application of it.
Yeah,
You
application
have to
without
look at
forcing it.
age
Yeah.
too, and size, and there's a lot. There's a lot. I think overall we do a great job. Do we miss, you know, miss a boat sometimes? Sure. Like you know, but it's like you're dealing with, you know, how many students did we have yesterday?
Oh, most of them.
You know, 60, 70 on the mats.
So many people.
You know, and you know, obviously there's systems and softwares now that you could do your due diligence, but then it's like, are we just gonna do it on, like, there's clubs that just do it on an attendance basis,
Which is wild to me.
which is wild to me, right? Although I think attendance is also important because
Well, it's mandatory.
like, well, yeah, you could be a fast learner, but you only you know what I mean? Like, I don't know what the perfect. I don't think anybody has the perfect way of grading.
Yeah. It's weird because, especially too, we look at, like, in any other sport, a 40-year-old or 50-year-old at that level, we look at the same in grappling specifically as, like, somebody who's, like, you know, a hockey player in their mid-20s versus a hockey player in their late 40s.
Yeah.
It's like, why is that? We can't cookie cutter the same.
Yeah, I think. Hey, listen,
It's only specifically jiu-jitsu too.
ideally, for me, for the longest time, I just, like, you know, go compete, go see where you're at.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, go compete, go see where you're at. But is that fair for people that don't want to compete? Probably not. So I don't know what the right answer is, right? To that question. Yeah, it's very complex, very hard grading as somebody. Yeah, it's just always gonna be hard, always you know. That's all I got.
How do you, if you look at somebody who's never trained anything, what's the first, like, and let's say they're like 16, 17, they really like UFC and they're young, right? And they want to start and they're like, you know, maybe did like their karate, their whole whatever, have you. What would you recommend they get into first if they want to see it through to, like, the professional level? Wrestling? Immediately, yeah. Why? What's your sense on this? I agree.
Well, I mean, just look at the statistics.
Yeah.
Just look at the statistics. Go grab all the champs
Yeah.
from 1993 to now. Put it on a list of who had a wrestling background, who had a Muay Thai background, BJJ background, Sambo background, and 50% of the champions have a wrestling background. And that's huge. Think about how many other martial arts there is. Half of our half of the UFC champion were wrestlers.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have the oddball like Anderson Silva? Yes.
Sure. Yeah.
Israel?
Alex
Yes.
Pereira's,
Alex Pereira? Yes.
They're so experienced in one realm that that takes them to the...
And also, I don't want to be a hater either, but you have to also look at the weight class and who's competing at the time too.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like,
Mm-hmm.
so, yeah, I think wrestling. think wrestling.
What's your favorite? You still watch you watch all fights?
I wouldn't say
or
all.
a lot of them though.
I'd say I watch at least once a week. I'll watch one of the events because I'm not so too through. Well, not probably not every week, but at least every second week now. For sure, I watch.
You're relatively up to date.
Yeah, of course.
So, what do you think is the most stacked division right now in UFC specifically?
Stacked?
Yeah.
45, 55.
45, 55, yeah.
45. 35 is pretty good. I would say
I've been thinking 70 lately.
I don't think so.
No?
Really? Man. No, I don't think so.
No?
No.
Who's in 70?
170, 185, I feel like they're the weakest
shallow.
round. Yeah.
Unfortunately, yeah.
I think anyways. 170. Like Bilal fucking no.
Bilal, Jack,
Yeah.
Islam,
Yeah.
Kamaru.
Well, Islam didn't fight yet, so.
Yeah, so can't really. Fair.
I guess they're yeah. I would say stacked like the 35s to 55ers though. 85er has always been the weakest.
Yeah.
In my opinion.
There's just one guy that rules it, and then that's.
Yeah. 85 has never been a deep ever. In my opinion, anyways.
So, looking kind of forward now, and you have the construction business, you have MMA business, and the gym.
Yeah.
How do you go about balancing that?
Fuck, I don't. Yeah.
Unreal. He's like, I don't. It just happens. That's just.
Yeah. No,
I love it.
I have no balance right now.
Yeah.
If you want, I try to. My weekends to my family.
Yeah. Hell yeah.
But besides that, I'm always, even on weekends, I'm always on doing emails. I know it looks like small stuff, but a client texting me about this, and this. Well, the back and forth is an hour.
Yeah.
On a Sunday.
It's like there. See ya.
It's like, and I gotta answer them.
Yeah.
I can't be like, wait till Monday. My hours are from 8 to 9, or 8 to 5. Can't do that.
No.
They're investing hundreds of thousands of dollars in you.
And they're probably working during the week and then off on the weekend, so they catch up.
Exactly. So you just have to answer. So, work-life balance, I don't believe that shit.
I don't think so either. Yeah, I don't believe it at all.
I don't believe it.
There's seasons of things.
When you're home, you check out, you're there, right? Don't get me wrong. I'm putting my kids to bed and stuff. My phone is not on me, so I do have some boundaries.
Yeah, good.
Right, I do have some boundaries, but at the end of the day.
Yeah, and it's usually family-related boundaries.
Yeah, they're family-related boundaries.
Nice.
Right?
I think that's.
I work all day and do my thing for the construction, and I go teach, and I come back, but as soon as I come home, it's like.
Isolated.
If they text me that night while I'm putting my kids to bed and stuff like that, I'm not answering them.
Yeah, that could wait till.
That's gonna wait either till after I'm done, or the morning, right?
Yeah.
But that's it. At the end of the day, my kids are in school till 3:30, and then they have some activities, whether it's Jiu Jitsu or they play. So my couple hours a night with them, I focus on that.
Hell yeah.
Sometimes it's just an hour. I teach at night. I come back home and I put them to bed, 30 minutes each with them and what have you, and so I'm very kind of that's where my boundaries. But it's like
as far as balance, it's not real.
Balance is not real. That's not real.
Yeah.
It's not real. Can it be real? Yeah, if you have a 9-to-5 job and of course I get it.
Yeah. But if you're not trying to actively grow more than one thing simultaneously, I'm sure there's seasons where it's one gets more focus, whereas that's just how things go.
Yeah.
Maybe a bunch of guys fighting, it's okay, well, just gotta focus on that more. And it's slow season for fights. Amp up construction, right? It's based on.
Yeah, that I don't know if I'll ever slow down in the next couple of years, but look, I was gone hunting.
Yeah, hell yeah.
For a week, but listen, I had my laptop, and I was doing emails, answering people at least 2 hours every morning. I wake up at 4:30, super early, and doing all that. So
yeah,
everybody sees oh, he's gone hunting. It's I worked every day.
Yeah.
I worked every day I was there.
Still at 4:30. Get it done.
Yeah. So I will hopefully have the work-life balance, eventually. Yeah, depends how far I want to get with the construction and you know what I mean.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I just don't believe in that shit.
Hell yeah. Do you have, as we kind of look to wrap up, do you have any major or things you want to kind of shout out, or things you want to look for, guys you have fighting coming up soon that you're like really like, draw some attention to it, or anything you want to close out on, at least, like any last minute, like things that you maybe didn't touch on that wish we did, or things you were hoping to kind of wrap up, conclude?
Not really.
Before
I got a couple guys fighting in a couple weeks from now.
Yeah, hell yeah.
They're the ones that I'm probably going to be putting pro in the next year, so they have high profile fights as far as it's amateur show, like an amateur show. So looking forward to that, and yeah, hopefully in the new year we have a couple pro fighters. Our first pro fighters coming out of our club.
Hell yeah. I'm excited.
Yeah, me too.
I'm fired up to see it. That's awesome. Thank you so much for your time, Mitch. I really appreciate it. This is awesome.
Yeah, thanks for having me, man.
Fucking sick. That's it.
Yeah.